guess we'll get started here. My name is Paul Javad, and I will give you a little bit of information, just mainly for continuity. This project started 22 years ago, so some of us have forgotten about it, so we will remind you. And I'm just going to read my presentation here because my memory is not surviving as well as some. So I'd like to welcome and thank all of you for attending tonight. This project began in 2003 at the first BC Oil and Gas Conference that was hosted by the city of Dawson Creek. The Kenn Borek Wall of Distinction was selected as the legacy project for the conference. So the conference committee held an auction sale to raise the funds needed for the project. The conference committee managed the project until funds were depleted, at which time the South Peace Oilmen Association adopted the project. And the Oilmen's is continuing it on now. The wall honors Kenn Borek for his contribution to the oil and gas industry, and especially for his contribution to the economy of the South Peace. Kenn and Rosella Borek are known worldwide for their business ventures, and we are extremely proud to commemorate Kenn with this wall of distinction. The wall also serves to recognize others from South Peace that have excelled in their various endeavors. We intend to continue adding individuals in each category. Charlie Parslow and Judy Loisel assisted in planning and designing the wall. The current subcommittee members are Jim Inkster, Richard Powell, Doug Patterson, Dale Suderman, Murray Pratt, Terry Wheeler, and Alan Armstrong. These projects take on some work, and I appreciate the help from all of these people. And just another point of continuity here, the South Peace Oilmen Association also completed a major concrete bridge across Dawson Creek in Kenn Park, which actually was a legacy project from the next conference, which was the 2006 Oil and Gas Conference. And the bridge is there. Was a tremendous project. It's a concrete bridge. It's going to be there for a long time yet. So I just wanted to let people know again for the continuity that the South Peace Oilmen's carried the project on from the conference legacy and completed it. So now I'll ask Charlie Parslow to come up. Thank you.
That was a long speech for Paul. It's always a pleasure to work with Paul. We've known each other for many, many years. This is a special project. I'm glad Paul gave you a little bit of the history of this. I'm speaking as the city councillor and on behalf of Mayor Dover, who just arrived back as I arrived here from Edmonton. On behalf of my colleagues, Councillor McDonald and Councillor Apollonia here, we want to express, first of all, a great thank you to the South Peace Oilmen. Not only have they made a tremendous contribution in the community and support people in ways that you wouldn't imagine, they've also host two of our stellar events every year, the Steak and Lobster and the Oktoberfest. And so they're really major contributors here. The criteria for selection I just want to mention what they are. The people who have been nominated and selected for this over many years, and you notice what we've had 20 recipients, if my math is, or 24 recipients, one female, 23 males, and as an interesting observation, one of my council friends just noted, I don't know why that's happened, because anybody can be nominated, and the committee makes decisions based upon the criteria. For the business category, the person must have made a significant contribution to the economic development of the South Peace. I point out it's not just Dawson Creek, it's the South Peace, stretching from Gordondale to Chepwood. They've established new or expanded existing businesses, and they provide significant employment opportunities. For sports, as this includes athletes and officials, they've excelled in sports, and in some way they have been recognized at the national level. Professional includes all professional endeavors. They've excelled in a professional pursuit, and they have been recognized in some way at a national level. We're very fortunate in this region to be blessed with lots of resources, but also by many characters with all sorts of talents and contributions. And this, I think, was a really good move by the South Peace Oilmen to establish this in honor of Kenn Borek, and a friend and a guy who I used to see about 3 times a week for different things, and particularly swimming. And we intend to continue this, making one selection in each category for at least the next 4 years. And what we'll do after the war is completely over, we'll have to see how we can expand them. So I'd like to invite someone from the group that selected the business recipient business award to come to the microphone and give us the introduction.
Thank you, Charlie. I'm very proud the South Peace Oilmen's tonight. Anyway, this year's fall of distinction, sorry, is the business category, and it is Miller Patterson. Miller Patterson made a significant contribution to the economy of Dawson Creek and the entire Peace River region, with the opening of Patterson's Auction Mart on October 2nd, 1958. The location was adjacent to Collins Exhibition Park, and the grand opening took place October 9th, 1958. 2 of Miller's sons, Art and Leonard, joined the firm as auctioneers and eventually became its owners until it was sold. The auction mart, now owned by BJV, continues to flourish in the Dawson Creek area. Miller Patterson received his auctioneering diploma from Preppert School of Auctioneering, Decatur, Indiana, in 1930. With his booming voice adding color to the agriculture scene, he started auctioneering and dealing in horses around the Height area. The auction mart provided an opportunity for the farming industry to market their cattle, horses, hogs, and other livestock locally. Primary purpose for the auction mart was cattle sales. Local buyers, as well as meat packers from Edmonton, Vancouver, were regulars at each Thursday sale. Patterson's auction also handled farm sales, frequently held consignment auction sales of furniture and equipment. Patterson's auction mart provided millions of dollars in annual sales for local producers, along with local market and promoted initiatives to improve cattle quality. The first registered bull sale was March 10th, 1959. Registered short, horn, and Hereford bulls were judged for quality and then sold. Farming was promoted to youth with sales of 4-H animals, support of local organizations through fundraising, also contributing to the local economy. The Dawson Creek exhibition and the Patterson's auction mart always cooperated to make both a success. Thursday became the regular weekly auction day beginning October 2nd, 1958, for local sellers and their buyers to attend. The farm community looked forward to every Thursday for the weekly trip to town. Business in Dawson Creek boomed on Thursdays, with significant economic benefits to the entire region. So this meets all of the criteria, then some. And we'd like to proudly display Miller Patterson on our wall of distinction.
Now, I'd like to invite somebody from a sports committee to come up and share some information about the recipient issue.
Good evening. Been a while before I spoke before a crowd this size. I think the last time maybe Baba Spencer were in my detention, but I'm not sure. They have the reputation where they could have been in detention. We'll get past that. Good evening, everyone. I'm part of the sport committee along with Terry Wheeler. We had a list of a number of names that came to us, and we went through the list and vetted some of them, and we're able to come down to a short list of 3. And again, with some more investigation, we came up with a very deserving recipient in Pat Rorrison. Well, just before Pat comes up and has an opportunity to say some words, I'm going to give a little bit of profile on him. Pat was born in 1950, so not quite as old as some of us. He was born in Savannah. Horses were woven into his first 12 years of life. His brother and him rode Sheriff, and I thought it was Copper, but I think it was Copper. And so they just, as kids, were living the dream. We'll fast forward 50 years. Pat and his wife Janet were supporting their daughter Anna's participation in BC High School Rodeo. And they bought a horse, Smarty, from Gary Moore so that they could compete in cutting horse events. Twice a week they traveled to Valley View so Anna could practice with Pat's cutting horse trainer. On a trip back home, Pat gave Anna some advice on a mistake that she had made. She replied, when you learn to cut, then you can tell me my mistake. So what did Pat do? He went and bought a horse. And that started his cutting career. And so that started in about 2012, I think, somewhere in there. He had trainers along the way, Jeff Switzer, Glenn Beveridge, Dustin Gometti, Mike Wood in Arizona, and he had horse partners as well, because you know this is not an individual sport. You have to have a partner. Sharkey, Garfield, Cy, Lars, Minty, and Dude were all his horse partners. So in 2018, he won the Canadian Cutting Horse Association and his first saddle. However, along the way, there are things that happen. He had some neck surgery, and then COVID came along, and some of those breaks had happened because of COVID. So working with Mike Wood in late 2021, 22 and 23, brought him to another level, traveling from California to Arizona, Washington to Louisiana, and to Texas and Canada. He won the NCHA World Finals in Texas and in Arizona, and reserve champion. Wow, WOW. I'm not sure what that means. World something. In 2023, winning California, Arizona, and third in the world NCHA finals. And winning the Calgary Stampede in 2023 was his most prized accomplishment. In total, Pat won 52 buckles, 10 bronze, and 4 saddles. So really a well-deserving recipient, Pat Rorrison.
I'd like to take this time to thank the committee for their nominating me and for putting me up on the wall. It's a great honor to be up on the Kenn Borek station, station. Pretty much everything that I was doing has been said, but when you're in the business of this cutting, you're going for the big stuff, you gotta go across the line. You gotta go and compete against the big boys in the States. And when we do those shows down there, we were doing 80, 85 shows a year. So you're going every week. And you'll be Idaho 1 week, in Monroe, Louisiana the next week. So I would leave in the 1st of January. First show was January 8th. And the last show will be in December 4th. And in 23, the only time I came to Canada was to be in Calgary. But the message I have for everybody is that if you have a dream, age is nothing. I never done it at 62. So, Kip, you can do it if you want. And I wish everybody. Thank you everybody for putting the other. I've known Pat personally for quite a few years, and I knew he was a talented, gifted individual. But when I read about his late venture into a horse in the saddles and stuff like that, and rodeos, I was shocked. What he said at the end there is really an inspiration for all of us. You're never too old to try something new. Congratulations, Pat. You notice also that Pat is the first person to be recognized in 2 categories. If you haven't seen over here, Pat was recognized in the business category for his immense contribution as well, a multifaceted, multi-talented individual. Lastly, in the professional category, I'd like someone to come up and present the recipient for that. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Doug Patterson, and I'm a member of the selection committee for the professional category. And tonight we will be inducting one outstanding professional in the Kenn Borek Wall of Fame, the Wall of Distinction. Charlie's already gone over the criteria, but just to reinforce that, criteria for this category is that it includes all professional endeavors. They have excelled in a professional pursuit and be recognized at a national level. And as you will probably hear, our candidate tonight is certainly fits into all of these categories. The biography that I'm going to present will also appear on the Kenn Borek Wall of Distinction along with this picture. And then I have a few comments to make after this part. So we're happy tonight to have in our presence Spencer Seeker. Spencer Seeker's, it's been called an adventurer, an educator, a best-selling author whose life work has spanned classrooms, conflict zones, conservation projects across the globe. A former teacher in Sierra Leone, the Deisha refugee camp in the West Bank of Palestine, Afghanistan, Ethiopia, Haiti. Spencer has devoted his career to empowering children and protecting animals in some of the world's most challenging environments. His humanitarian missions have taken him throughout Africa, the Middle East, and Central and South America, often blending education, rescue, and hope. He's the author of a national bestseller, Saving Mano. This isn't a book-selling thing, but I do have a lot of this book. Very interesting reading. The book is about the true story of rescuing an orphan chimpanzee from a war-torn Iraqi zoo with the support of Dr. Jane Goodall. The book has inspired readers worldwide and sparked ongoing work in wildlife protection and ethical conservation. Spencer helped rescue an Afghan family from Taliban-controlled Kabul, a mission that drew on his deep connection to the country and reinforced his belief in the power of compassion and courage to transcend borders. A proud Dawson Creek native, Spencer credits his informative years in the community for shaping a sense of perseverance and purpose. He attended Grandview Elementary, Frank Ross Junior High, and South Peace Secondary, where he was a member of the South Peace Penguins Peace Bowl Championship football teams. He also played junior hockey locally, the Kodiaks. He went on to play football for the University of Alberta Golden Bears while earning degrees in physical education and education. These experiences taught teamwork, discipline, community spirit, qualities that continue to guide his life. Spencer now lives in Sherwood Park with his wife, Dr. Christy Donald Seeker, and their son Andrews, who are here with us tonight also. And no matter how far his travels take him, he remembers deeply and he's grateful for his Dawson Creek roots and the lessons that he's learned here. But before introducing Spencer and inviting him up for a few words, I'd like to add a few comments to his story that won't appear on the wall. Unfortunately, we have only so much space to get in there. And when looking at his accomplishments, we just can't get them all on there. So I just want to mention a few things that I think are pretty important. First, being mentioned is a relationship with Dr. Jane Goodall, world-renowned primate expert who just recently passed away. I think most people know of her. She was a worldwide recognized figure. Dr. Goodall, in fact, wrote the foreword to Spencer's book. So in his book, Jane Goodall wrote the foreword. There she described the first meeting Spencer at a book signing in Edmonton. And to quote, "At the book signing, a long line of people formed, waiting to have a few words, get an autograph, and have a photo taken. There was one person in the line, however, who had a different agenda. Spencer Seeker was desperate to tell me about an infant chimpanzee named Mano, who was on display in a zoo in northern Iraq. Spencer had made it his mission to rescue Mano from an inappropriate setting less than 100 kilometers from Mosul, where forces were battling the Islamic State. It was a strange experience signing a book in North America and to be talking to a high school teacher about how to transport an infant chimp from a war-torn Iraq to a sanctuary in Africa. He convinced her, she helped, and he was successful. It was pointed out also that Spencer wasn't a human rights expert or a zoologist, but he became a specialist on animal trafficking. And he learned to navigate the tricky politics of international organizations and assembled a team of activists to help. Dr. Goodall describes Spencer as being one ordinary man who did something extraordinary. And I'll repeat that. One ordinary man who did something extraordinary. Which leaves us with a thought tonight, especially, that most of the folks who appeared on these plaques on our walls of distinction were or are all just ordinary people who have done something extraordinary, including our two recipients tonight. So thank you for letting me share this, and I congratulate those folks that we are honoring tonight. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Spencer to come up and share a few words with. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Evan. Very humble to be here. The other guests. So many things that just coming home here. It's you don't understand things sometimes until you look back. Even things to share this award with some of the people. Jack, like Patterson's auction mart, you just grew up and you took for granted, and I never really realized as a kid contribution to our community that you guys have made. Mr. Rorrison, to sit here and listen to your accomplishments is just very humble to be mentioned with the same breath as both these groups. Kenn Borek, interesting story. I was a young man traveling in South America, Cusco, Peru, and land. No one speaks English. I don't know if you've ever been there, but the altitude is so high I can't breathe. There's a Kenn Borek airplane park right next to me. Just no man can do anything without the help. Obviously, my wife and my child. Just feel so fortunate to look back. Friends that I had growing up, teachers that I had, all certainly part of this. My family, my mom and dad, certainly couldn't do this without any of them. And again, just to be mentioned at the same wall as Phil Sykes, who was my boyhood idol. Phil, the other kids. And I wouldn't say we're all normal because Tim Hankwich, even because I went to school with Tim, even as a middle schooler or junior high kid, he was a prodigy even at that. So to be up there here with all these people is really humbling. And I want to thank you and thank Dawson Creek. It's always a part of me, and this community, it's almost like family as much as it is, friends and teachers and whatnot. You're all a part of me, and I take you wherever I go.
I'll see if our thing is not open. You're just going to see if Pattersons are going to answer the nominations. Thanks, Terry.
I did Miller Patterson's induction to invite the family up for acknowledgement. We do have somebody that would like to come up and say a few words.
So I'm very honored to have Paul Patterson to be here today and in honor of Miller Patterson. And for me, I met Miller Patterson through 4-H. You can't hear me? Tell me if I'm better. Am I better? Okay. So when I first met Miller Patterson, I was in 4-H. And I was 14 years old, and I had a pretty ripe steer. And I was crying outside the auction market because it was time to bring him in and sell him. And so Miller would come out from the auction stand and he said to me, "Hey, little girl, quit crying." Buck up. And he said, "It's not gonna make this thing any easier. You're in there crying, it's not gonna bring you any more money." I said, "Okay." I went in and my steer brought big money. I still had tears. So that was my first meeting with him, and then I met his son. I went to the auction market for Easter, and I was looking for my dad, and I had to buy presents for all us kids at home for Easter. I went into the auction market. When you went in there was a big hunk of cement that you had to step over. I went flying over top of that, and I landed with my hands up on the table, looking at Leonard. I fell in love with him. Married him. He was the highlight of my life, let me tell you, and my two kids, Shantae and Shane. So that was my very beginning with Miller Patterson, and I've been with him. And I still have my office upstairs of the auction market, and I look after. I'm a banker for cattle people. So what I do is I do loans for cattle people, and Miller loved the Dawson Creek exhibition. Just literally loved it. And the Pattersons, when it came time for the exhibition, whatever they needed, tractor, help, whatever, we helped every year with that fair and tried to make it into something that was better than what it was the year before. He loved Dawson Creek, loved the exhibition, probably was his best friend, the people from the exhibition. So I'd like to let Carol say something, and then Jack, I think, is going to say something as well. So thank you again for what you did for Miller. There's nothing that's been better than for our whole family.
Hi, I'm Carol Root, and I'm so pleased to be here tonight, and I'm so happy to see that my dad is on the wall of distinction. I know I know his name has been up there a few times, and I have to thank also, besides Maureen, I have to thank Judy Loisel, who isn't with us anymore, because she thought that this is where he should be too. Not only before Dad came to Dawson Creek, he was in Hyde, and he was a big community person there, helped build the arena, which was built in the 1950. And then I moved to Dawson in 1993, and Dad had already passed away. But I know they talk about the auction market and all the auction sales. I know not only Dad, but Dad and Leonard and Art, all the sales that they did for the hospital auxiliary, figure skating, hockey, someone's house burnt down. If somebody had someone sick and they were in need of monetary things, he was always there. They were always there, and they donated all their time. And then when I moved here in 1993 too, my husband and I had the esoteric. I had 3 different people come in and say to me, "Oh, you're back in Dawson." Well, I was never here before, but anyway, they told me if it hadn't been for Dad, they would have never survived the winter. That Dad helped them and supported them, and made sure that they had food so that they could make it through the winter. And they always paid them back in the spring when things were better. Thank you.
You're supposed to stay up here and say in case I cry. My name's Jack. I'm the youngest of the one family. I'd like to this time also, Donnie Patterson is away. He's one of Miller's children as well. I wish he could have been here, but he is down east, and he was on the Cat Trail, went to Chocolate Shop, and ran into Steve Ellis. That's what went. I helped the boys over the years. Sal, Shane and I went to the same Oxford school as Sal. Dad did, and Art Leonard. We were much younger though, weren't we, Shane? You had your 19th birthday there. Shane and I had the privilege, they started coming back with sheep more and more, and I think we did the first ram sale and it got kicked off again. And everybody was gone but Dad. So Shane and I got our first introduction to selling rams, and we had some good Hutterite friends that helped us out. It is a privilege to see that on the ball, and I asked him why he didn't go to Grand Prairie instead of Dawson many years ago, and he said Dawson Creek was the largest inland exporter of grain in all of Western Canada, grain and cattle together, and that's why he came here. Enjoyed it here, and it's nice to board thank the committee on behalf of our family. I won't keep any more of your time. Thank you. It's an honor to be here today. Thank you very much.
Well, I have to congratulate the selection committees in making such tremendously good choices. It's just amazing. The stories, I'm a history buff anyway, but the stories about people who made this such a good place to live and work, I just am pretty touched by the stories that were shared. It just reminds me, you know, that if like Pat, you know, if somebody starts something new at 62, well, we can continue to make this a wonderful place, keep it a wonderful family place for everyone to thrive and enjoy each other's company. So thank you to the South Peace Oilmen again for this is a wonderful event, and it reminds us all how fortunate we are to live where we are living. And I must say thank you to Avintiv, who always do a fantastic job. Thank you, Judy, and the staff. And thank you to each one for making this a special event for all of us. Thank you.